Keir Starmer's political career has just been obliterated in the most spectacular and dramatic fashion imaginable, with revelations so shocking and so damaging that they leaked live on national television before anyone could stop them. And the Prime Minister is now facing immediate resignation as the only way to avoid complete and utter destruction. What just happened on live TV will go down in history as one of the most extraordinary moments in British political broadcasting, as a planned news segment about routine government business was suddenly hijacked by a massive document leak that exposed secrets so explosive that producers were scrambling to cut to commercial break, while viewers watched in real time as the entire edifice of Starmer's credibility and authority collapsed before their eyes. The documents that appeared on screen and were read aloud before anyone could stop the broadcast contained evidence of personal financial impropriety, undisclosed conflicts of interest, private communications showing deliberate deception of Parliament and the public, and revelations about Starmer's personal conduct that make every scandal that's come before look like minor administrative errors. Sources inside Downing Street are confirming that emergency meetings are happening right now where resignation is being discussed as inevitable, with the only question being whether Starmer announces it himself tonight or waits until tomorrow morning in some futile attempt to control the narrative. But there's no controlling this narrative because millions of people watched the revelations unfold live. They saw the documents with their own eyes. They heard the specifics read aloud by shocked news presenters who couldn't believe what they were seeing. And no amount of spin or damage control can put this genie back in the bottle. The political establishment is in absolute meltdown, trying to process what just happened and what it means for British politics going forward. The live television disaster began during what was supposed to be a standard early evening news broadcast on a major network, covering the day's political developments and featuring an interview with a government minister about upcoming policy announcements. But halfway through the programme, producers apparently received leaked documents from an anonymous source, documents so significant that editorial staff made the decision to break into the scheduled programming to report on what they were seeing. What followed was absolute chaos as presenters attempted to digest and report on explosive material they were reading for the first time while live on air, trying to verify details and understand implications, while millions watched the discovery process happen in real time. The documents revealed that Starmer had personally benefited financially from several of the questionable arrangements that have been under investigation, that he had business relationships and financial interests that were never properly disclosed, and that he had lied repeatedly when asked about his personal involvement in various scandals that have plagued his government. The leaked communications showed Starmer discussing strategies for hiding these financial relationships, coordinating stories with associates to maintain plausible deniability, and expressing contempt for parliamentary oversight and public accountability in language so arrogant and dismissive that it shocked even the journalists reading it aloud. The specific details revealed in the leaked documents are so damaging that they destroy every defence Starmer has offered throughout months of escalating scandals. One set of documents showed that a company partly owned by Starmer received substantial payments from firms that subsequently won lucrative government contracts, creating an obvious and undisclosed conflict of interest where the Prime Minister personally profited from decisions his government made about awarding public money. Another document trail revealed that Starmer maintained financial interests in overseas entities that were structured specifically to minimise tax obligations and hide the beneficial ownership. Exactly the kind of tax avoidance scheme that Labour has publicly condemned when used by others. Perhaps most devastating were private communications showing Starmer discussing how to respond to various investigations and parliamentary questions, with messages revealing that he knowingly provided false information and coordinated with others to maintain a false narrative about his lack of involvement in questionable activities. The documents showed him describing parliamentary oversight as a nuisance to be managed rather than a legitimate check on executive power, referring to concerned MPS as troublemakers who needed to be handled. and expressing confidence that media allies could be counted on to minimise any damaging revelations and attack anyone who raised questions. The leak appears to have come from inside government, from someone with access to highly sensitive documents who decided that the truth needed to come out, regardless of the personal and professional consequences of whistleblowing at this level. The source provided documents to multiple news organisations simultaneously, ensuring that the information would get out even if some outlets decided not to publish for political reasons, and the timing of the leak to coincide with live news broadcasts was clearly calculated to maximise impact and make it impossible for the government to suppress or preemptively spin the revelations. The production staff at the television network had only minutes to decide whether to go with the story or hold it for verification. And they made the gutsy decision to break the news live because the documents were clearly authentic and the public interest in immediate disclosure outweighed normal journalistic caution about unverified leaks. That decision has now been vindicated as other outlets have confirmed the authenticity of the leaked materials, and additional sources have come forward to verify that the documents are genuine and that the activities they describe actually happened as documented. The immediate response from Downing Street was panicked and incoherent, with initial statements denying everything and claiming the documents were fabricated, then quickly shifting to no comment as it became clear that denials weren't credible given the specificity and obvious authenticity of the leaked materials. Government ministers who were scheduled to appear on evening news programmes suddenly became unavailable, with communication teams citing scheduling conflicts and unexpected developments that required their immediate attention. The Prime Minister himself has not been seen or heard from since the leaks became public, fueling speculation that he's in emergency meetings with senior advisors and party officials discussing his political future and whether resignation is inevitable. Labour MPs are reportedly in shock, with many having learned about the revelations the same way the public did by watching them unfold on live television, and now trying to process the reality that their party leader has been lying to them just as systematically as he's been lying to everyone else. The calls for Starmer's resignation that were already mounting before this latest disaster have now become an absolute tsunami, with voices from across the political spectrum agreeing that a Prime Minister who has been caught in such extensive financial impropriety and systematic dishonesty simply cannot continue in office.